President Biden has made a habit of blaming Vladimir Putin for his problems, but now he's turning to championing the infrastructure bill passed last year in critical 2024 battleground states.
Particularly important now, we ask ourselves, how are we going to reduce pressure on inflation? Maine, New Hampshire, America have gone on the mend. They're not on the mend any longer. They're on the move.
Brian Brenberg, Fox News contributor, joins us now. And the headline, Brian, from the speech is that he did blame COVID and Vladimir Putin for inflation once again. Is this messaging working?
You can't message a disaster. This is the problem. He doesn't have any results to speak of. So instead of talking about good things, he has to find other people to pin the bad things on. But it's not resonating. His infrastructure plan, he's talking about that here. What's happened? Has anything happened with that plan? Has anybody seen results from that plan? Not if you're looking at inflation numbers, because those numbers just keep going up.
Biden also said our country is healthier than ever. What country is he looking at when gas is through the roof, it costs you $100 to buy 2 bags of groceries, and you get shot walking down the street of any major city in our country?
You know, people draw their own conclusions about whether things are healthy or not. This is the problem the president has. He keeps going to the American people and saying, it's okay, you're doing great, everything's fine. And they're saying, well, if that was the case, I'd have more money in my pocket. There'd be stuff on the shelves. I wouldn't be fearful when I'm walking down the street. I'd be okay with my child's education, but they're not okay with any of those things. You can't tell people things are okay. You just have to make things okay. They'll draw that conclusion for themselves.
Mitt Romney had an interesting piece in the Wall Street Journal. It's titled Biden's Errors Worsen Inflation. And he goes on to say President Biden's domestic focus must be on inflation at 8.5% nationally and 10.4% in Utah. Inflation is truly hurting people, and it's the people with little or no money to spare who are the hardest hit by the exponential rise in prices. The last thing the economy needs is more near-term deficit spending, so President Biden should shelve the Build Back Better plan permanently. He also goes on to say that the president needs to start talking about solutions in trying to ramp up the economy, whether it's deregulation or increasing oil and gas production. And here in the U.S., stop blaming people and start coming up with some solutions.
Yeah, he should be talking about those things. We've been talking about those things for many weeks, but you know what his bureaucracy did this week? They said, we're going to make it harder to build pipelines. We're going to make it harder to build infrastructure because we're going to ramp up environmental reviews again. The Trump administration pulled back on that. Biden's doubling down on that. You think we're going to get more infrastructure when it takes that much longer to review the environmental procedures? No way.
Only people who win there are the lawyers, and that's coming from a lawyer. And I don't want to win this battle. I want my gas to be under $4.
No need to pay lawyers anymore. Let's start paying workers.
Meantime, speaking of paying workers, Apple workers in New York City's Grand Central Station, the ones that are in the station themselves.
Yeah, just one store.
Yeah, just one store. They plan to form the first ever union. Here's what they want: $30 minimum wage, more vacation time, better retirement options, increases to education reimbursement, and improved working conditions, including reviews of the track dust. Because, again, being in a train station, you worry about things like track dust. Isn't Apple simply falling victim to this far-left pro-union ideology that it overwhelmingly supported when you look at donations from its people? And just its overall ideological push.
The chickens are coming home to roost for Apple. I mean, the vast majority of their employee political donations go to left-wing causes. So now you've got some workers who actually have a pretty good deal. $20 an hour starting wage. They get retirement, 6% match. They get tuition reimbursement. They get a lot of good things for retail workers. They're coming back and saying, we want to be part of a union. What can Apple say in response to that? Well, that's exactly what we've been pushing for years and years and years. It's going to happen here now.
Yeah, and $30 minimum wage is that's huge.
Wow.
Is it typical for just one store within a company to try and unionize?
Well, it's not totally atypical. I mean, it starts at a certain location. But what's interesting here is Apple can say, you know what, I don't know how much we need these retail stores. You know, I mean, we buy these things online all the time.
People buy their
this
stuff
is
online.
A business that's totally susceptible to automation. So at some point, Apple might just say, forget the store, forget the workers, buy this stuff online. Now you've collectively bargained yourself out of a job. So we'll see where this really ends. But I agree with you, Todd. Apple has laid the groundwork because they have created a workforce that is totally one-sided for the left and for the Democratic Party.
Can I make a quick admission that I made to you guys off camera? I did not know that these were Apple workers, and I go to Grand Central every day. I thought these were just people who wanted me to sign a petition on something. And I was like, these people are really out in full force every single day that I'm there. They hang out on the steps. There you go. Welcome to the world, Todd.
They're looking for a lawyer's help on
You learn something new every day, and this is your moment. Good for you.
One shining moment.
Thanks, Brian.
You bet.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.